The evening sun painted the city park with strokes of fading gold and soft shadows. Children laughed and chased each other across the grass while tired parents rested on benches. In the far corner, a man in a dark suit sat alone on a wooden bench staring at the ground as though the earth beneath his polished shoes held all the answers he could not find. His name was Adrian Hale, and though the world knew him as the most powerful CEO in the city, he felt nothing but emptiness inside. Adrian had built an empire of glass towers, contracts, and endless meetings. People feared his name and respected his power. Yet in truth he was a man estranged from warmth. Success had taken away his sleep, his laughter, and his ability to feel anything beyond the cold rush of ambition. His phone buzzed with reminders, but he ignored it. For once he wanted silence. He wanted to remember what it felt like to be human. On the grass nearby, a little girl of about 6 years sat cross-legged hugging a worn teddy bear. Her dress was slightly wrinkled from play, her shoes were scuffed, yet her eyes glowed with innocence. She noticed the man on the bench. Something about him drew her attention. While others were laughing, he looked lost, as though he had misplaced something precious that he could never get back. She stood and marched over her teddy, clutched tightly in her arms. "Mister, you look sad," she said, her small voice breaking through his fog of thoughts. He lifted his gaze, startled. Few dared to approach him. The girl tilted her head and studied him with childlike seriousness. "Do you want my teddy?" She stretched her arms forward, offering the stuffed toy. He blinked at her, confused. "Why would you give me that?" he asked, his voice low, hoarse from disuse. "Because when I am sad, Teddy helps me feel better," she replied with certainty. "You look like you need him more than me." Her honesty struck him deeper than any boardroom accusation. He stared at the teddy, its button eye dangling by a thread, its fur worn from years of comfort. Adrian felt his throat tighten. No one had ever offered him comfort without asking for something in return. In his world, every gesture was calculated. Yet here was a child offering her most cherished possession simply because he looked sad. Slowly he accepted the teddy, his large hand dwarfing it. "Thank you," he said, his voice almost breaking. She smiled widely, as though she had given away treasure. "My name is Lily," she chirped. "And you are?" He hesitated. For the first time in years he did not want to be CEO Adrian Hale. He just wanted to be a man talking to a little girl who still believed in kindness. "I am Adrian," he answered simply. Lily plopped down beside him without hesitation, her little legs swinging. "My mommy says we should help people who are lonely," she said matter-of-factly. "Are you lonely, Adrian?" He looked away, the weight of truth pressing on him. "Yes," he whispered. "More than I can say." She nodded, as if she understood more than her years. "Well, now you are not, because you have Teddy and me." Adrian felt an unexpected warmth spread through his chest. He had faced presidents and rivals without flinching, yet this child had dismantled his defenses with a single sentence. They sat in silence for a while, watching the other children play. Adrian found himself wondering when he had last laughed without restraint, when he had last run across grass without care. He realized he had buried that part of himself long ago beneath schedules and stock prices. Lily tugged his sleeve, breaking his thoughts. "Do you want to play tag?" she asked brightly. Adrian almost laughed at the absurdity. Him in his $1,000 suit chasing children in the park. Yet when he saw her expectant eyes, he could not say no. "Not today. I do not know if I can run as fast as you," he admitted. "You can try," she insisted. She tapped his arm and dashed off, giggling. Something in him cracked open. He stood clumsily and chased after her. His shoes slipped on the grass, his jacket flapped awkwardly, but for the first time in decades he was not Adrian Hale, the ruthless CEO. He was just a man running after a laughing child. When he caught her, they both collapsed onto the grass laughing. The sound of his own laughter startled him. He had almost forgotten its sound. They lay there catching their breath. Lily looked at him with eyes full of simple trust. You are not so sad now, she declared. Adrian nodded. You are right, he admitted softly. You made me smile. She grinned as if it was the easiest thing in the world. But the moment could not last forever. A woman's worried voice called out, Lily, where are you? The child leapt up waving. Mommy, I am here. Adrian stood brushing off his suit as a woman hurried over. She was in her early 30s, graceful yet exhausted, with worry etched on her face. She froze when she saw Adrian standing beside her daughter. Lily, what have I told you about talking to strangers? She scolded, gently pulling the girl close. But Mommy, this is Adrian, she protested. He was sad, so I gave him Teddy. The woman's eyes darted to the stuffed bear now in Adrian's hand, then back to him. There was suspicion in her gaze mixed with confusion, as if she recognized him but could not place from where. Adrian inclined his head. Your daughter is very kind, he said quietly. The woman relaxed slightly, though she still kept Lily close. Thank you for watching her, she murmured, though her tone was cautious. Adrian wanted to say more but stopped himself. For some reason he did not want her to know who he truly was, not yet. As they walked away, Lily turned, waving. Bye, Adrian, do not forget Teddy helps. Adrian held up the toy and managed a small smile. Goodbye, Lily. When they disappeared into the crowd, he felt a hollowness return, yet something had shifted inside him. A thread of warmth lingered where none had been before. That night in his penthouse, Adrian placed the Teddy on his desk beside files and contracts worth millions. The contrast made him pause. He stared at the toy, remembering Lily's laughter and the way she said, You are not so sad now. For the first time in years, he left work unfinished and went to bed early, clutching the memory like a fragile gift. The following days were different. He attended meetings, but his mind wandered to the park. He found himself craving that small pocket of humanity. So 1 week later he returned. He did not know if Lily would be there, but he hoped. When he arrived, he spotted her instantly, running with other children, her hair flying. And there on a bench nearby sat the same woman reading a book. Adrian's chest tightened. He wanted to approach, but hesitation held him back. He was used to commanding rooms, not approaching strangers. Yet when Lily spotted him, she squealed Adrian and raced over, throwing her arms around his legs. You came back, she beamed. He knelt down, smiling despite himself. I said I would not forget Teddy, and I did not. He showed her the bear, carefully kept safe. She clapped her hands, delighted. Her mother looked up, startled again by his presence. She rose and approached with cautious steps. You are here again, she said, her tone edged with curiosity. Yes, Adrian replied evenly. I found your daughter's company refreshing. The woman studied him carefully, as if trying to solve a puzzle. I am Clara, she said finally. Lily's mother. He extended his hand. Adrian. She shook it hesitantly. They spoke briefly, polite words, yet beneath them an unspoken tension lingered. Clara felt something unusual about him, something beyond his expensive suit and controlled demeanor. Adrian, meanwhile, felt strangely nervous. Around her, which was new for a man who negotiated billion-dollar deals daily. As the days passed, Adrian returned again and again. Sometimes he found Lily waiting with eager smiles, sometimes Clara joined their conversations, reluctantly softening little by little. Slowly he learned about their lives. Clara worked long hours as a nurse, raising Lily on her own after her husband had left years before. Money was tight, but love was abundant. Adrian listened more than he spoke. He found himself drawn not only to Lily's innocence but to Clara's quiet strength. For the first time he felt envy, not of wealth or power, but of the simple family bond they shared. A part of him longed to belong to it, though he knew he had no right. But secrets have a way of surfacing. One evening as Adrian left the park, a group of businessmen passed by and one exclaimed, Mr. Hale, sir, we did not expect to see you here. Clara's head snapped around, her eyes wide. Lily looked between them, confused. Adrian froze. The mask he had tried to hide behind cracked in an instant. Clara stared at him, her grip on Lily's shoulder tightening. The businessmen bowed slightly before hurrying away, leaving an awkward silence behind. Mr. Hale, she repeated slowly as though testing the weight of his name. Her eyes filled with shock and guarded disbelief. You are Adrian Hale, the CEO. Adrian closed his eyes briefly, then nodded. Yes. Lily looked up at her mother, puzzled. Mommy, what is wrong? He is just Adrian. Clara swallowed hard, pulling her daughter close. Just Adrian, she echoed bitterly. No, Lily, he is not just Adrian. He is the most powerful man in this city. He owns the towers you see downtown. He is on the news every week. He is not some lonely man on a bench. Her words pierced him sharper than knives. He had wanted to be just Adrian with them. Nothing more. He tried to explain. Clara, I did not want you to treat me differently. I only wanted to feel normal, even for a little while. But Clara's expression hardened. Normal, she whispered. Do you have any idea what normal is, Adrian? Do you know what it is like to worry about rent or medical bills or food on the table while raising a child alone? Normal is not private cars and penthouses. Lily tugged her mother's sleeve, her little voice trembling. Mommy, do not be mad at Adrian. He is nice. He was sad. He played tag with me. Clara's eyes softened at her daughter's innocence, but the storm inside her did not ease. She turned to Adrian. I appreciate what you did for Lily. But we do not belong in your world. Please leave us alone. Adrian felt his chest tighten as though a part of him was being ripped away. He wanted to argue, to tell her that she was wrong, that he needed them more than they realized. But the look in her eyes stopped him. It was a barrier he could not cross. So he nodded quietly. Very well, Clara. If that is what you want. That night his penthouse felt colder than ever. The teddy sat on his desk, and for the first time he considered giving it back. But when he held it, he remembered Lily's laughter and Clara's wary eyes, and something inside him refused to let go. He realized he could not return to the man he had been before meeting them. They had stirred life into his hollow existence. He would not surrender that spark so easily. The next week Adrian appeared at the hospital where Clara worked. He did not arrive in suits of power, but in simple clothes. He waited until she stepped out exhausted after a long shift. When she saw him, her eyes narrowed. What are you doing here? Adrian the first asked you to stay away. I know, he said calmly. But I cannot. I do not want to force myself into your life, Clara. I only want to help. You have given me something I did not know I needed. Please let me repay you. Her lips pressed into a thin line. We do not need charity, Mr. Hale. He shook his head. This is not charity. It is gratitude. And perhaps more than that. His sincerity unnerved her. She had seen powerful men speak, but never with such vulnerability. Still she turned away. I cannot trust you. Not when you live in a world so far from ours. Adrian's chest ached, but he refused to give up. He began appearing at the park on evenings Lily played, waiting quietly until Clara allowed him near. Slowly Lily's pleading eyes softened her mother's resistance. She could not deny that Lily adored him. Against her better judgment, Clara began to tolerate his presence. Weeks passed and Adrian became part of their small world. He helped Lily with homework, played games, bought ice cream, though he never flaunted his wealth. Clara remained cautious, yet she too noticed something she had not expected. Adrian listened. He was patient with Lily and respectful with her. He never treated them as obligations. He treated them as family. One rainy evening Clara arrived home from work to find Adrian waiting outside her modest apartment with an umbrella. You will catch a cold, he said, offering it to her. She frowned. Why are you here, Adrian? Because I care, he admitted simply. Something inside her trembled at his honesty. She wanted to push him away, but his eyes held a loneliness that mirrored her own. Against her will she let him in. They shared tea at her small kitchen table while Lily slept. The silence stretched before Clara finally asked the question that had haunted her. Why is Adrian? You could have anything, anyone. Why do you keep coming back here? He stared at the steaming cup, then at her. Because with you I feel human, he said quietly. With you and Lily I am not the CEO, I am just Adrian. And I do not want to lose that. Her breath caught. No one had ever spoken to her like that. She had met men who boasted of riches, who promised comfort. But none had offered the simple truth of wanting to be seen as human. For the first time she glimpsed the man beneath the empire. Yet fear still clung to her. Our worlds are too different, she whispered. I cannot risk Lily being hurt. Adrian reached across the table, his hand stopping short of hers. I would never hurt her. I would protect her as if she were my own. Her heart wavered though her mind screamed caution. Still she could not deny that she wanted to believe him. Days turned into months. The bond between Adrian, Clara and Lily deepened. He became part of their routines, dinners, walks, stories before bed. Lily often curled up against him with Teddy in her arms, declaring that Adrian was family now. Clara tried to resist, but love grew silently in her heart like a flower breaking through stone. Then came the day Adrian made a choice. At a board meeting filled with executives, he announced he would step back from his empire, reducing his role to spend more time living, not just surviving. The room erupted in shock, but Adrian felt liberated. For the first time he was choosing life over power. That evening he went to Clara's apartment carrying no contracts, no titles, only the teddy bear. He found Clara in the kitchen and Lily coloring on the floor. He knelt before Lily, holding out the bear. Thank you, Lily, he said softly. You were right. Teddy did help me. But more than that, you and your mother helped me find myself again. Lily hugged him tightly. You are not sad anymore, she said proudly. Adrian smiled. No, little one, I am not. He turned to Clara, his heart pounding. I know our worlds are different. But I am willing to leave mine behind if it means being part of yours. Clara's eyes filled with tears. She had fought against this moment, fearing it, hoping for it. You would give up everything, she whispered. Not everything, he said. Just the parts that never mattered. You and Lily are what matter now. Her defenses crumbled. For the first time she allowed herself to imagine a future not of struggle alone but of love shared. She stepped closer, her voice trembling. Then stay, Adrian. Stay with us. He pulled her into his arms as Lily cheered, hugging Teddy. In that small apartment, Adrian Hale, the most powerful man in the city, found the only treasure he had ever truly longed for. Not wealth, not towers, not fear or respect, but a family and the simple warmth of being loved. And so the man who had once sat alone in the park staring at the ground ended his search where he least expected it, in the arms of a little girl who offered him a teddy bear and a woman who showed him that even the coldest heart could be healed by love.